A month filled with really remarkable videos that we've seen that have really put a spotlight on racial injustice in this country. What happened to a mother and son in Baltimore was one of the more dramatic ones. There's nothing violent here, but it is so blatantly a case of discrimination. You may remember this. This was in Baltimore last week. Marcia Grant and her son Dallas, who's 9 years old, walking into a restaurant, I believe it's called Ouzo Bay. And they were told by the host that they could not come in because of what Dallas was wearing. So take a look at the video.
We're going to bring Marcia and Dallas in a moment to talk to them about this. But watch the video, and in particular, pay attention to the white kid, what he's wearing, and what Dallas is wearing.
I'm sorry, ma'am. The gentleman's already explained it to you.
Okay, tell it to me again. You telling me we cannot eat here?
So unfortunately, we do have a dress code. If you have some non-athletic shorts.
But that white kid out there can't eat here with his tennis shoes on and his athletic shirt.
So we allow tennis shoes, but not athletic shorts and t-shirts.
He has one. You telling me that's not an athletic shirt? I just want to know why it's different for my son.
I understand how you feel.
I don't want you to sympathize with me. I just want you to tell me why it's different for my son. And that little kid that was out there with athletic tennis shoes and...
The t-shirt that the little kid was wearing, we don't consider that to be athletic t-shirt.
Why?
Honestly, I did not get a good look, but it looked like a regular t-shirt.
He is doing somersaults. He is doing
Not really sure the difference is an athletic t-shirt or a t-shirt.
So, it was terrible to watch this, and every time you watch it, your heart breaks. But they are not letting it go. So Marcia and Dallas have retained Dante Mills, an attorney, because they are just not finished with what happened to them, and they join us live right now. Folks, welcome to TMZ Live.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
We're good.
I just want to say right off the bat, Marcia, thank you so much for the way that you spoke up for yourself and your son, and the fact that you captured all of it on video to really, and not just for yourself, and obviously that is paramount for you and your son, but you have shown the world what a lot of Black people have to deal with on a regular basis. So thank you for doing that. And now I just want to say, what has this been like for you and for Dallas having to encounter something like this? And to deal with the aftermath now?
It was really hard. It was hard for Dallas because Dallas had never been met with racism. Dallas just turned 9 in April, and I never explained that to him. He has white friends, and they're always taught that they're all the same. So I didn't prepare him for racism just because I felt like he was too young, and it never occurred to me that he would be met with it at 9 years old. So it's been tough for him.
Dallas, I'm wondering, I'm so sorry you went through this. How were you feeling when all of this was kind of unfolding in the restaurant?
I felt sad.
It's funny, and I'll tell you, when I first spoke to Dallas, I asked him, how he felt and what did he want people to know, why did he want people to know about this, and what did he want people to take from it? What he told me was, he didn't want people to be racist, and I asked him why, and he said, because when you're racist, it hurts people's feelings, and it makes them sad, and it made me sad. And we can talk about why racism is wrong, big picture and so many issues related to it, but what it comes down to is it's hurtful, and it makes people sad. And for a 9-year-old to experience that and have to live the rest of his life with that little bit of doubt of whether or not he's good enough. He saw another child that looked identical to him in every way except for the color of his skin. The clothes were the same clothes. It's a logo on a t-shirt, he has on sneakers, but for some reason, Dallas was told he wasn't good enough. So what we're doing now is essentially damage control. We're trying to let Dallas know that he should not look at himself in a certain way, or he shouldn't feel bad about himself. And we're doing that by getting this support around him, letting him know that he's important enough, that he matters, that people actually care that this happened to him. Because as a 9-year-old, when you go through this type of experience and you don't know what you could have done different, there's nothing he could have done different.
I got to tell you, Marcia, the thing that I loved that you did, and you just handled it remarkably, but when that maitre d' said to you, I know how you feel, and you went back at him and said, "Don't tell me how I feel." That was, it was so meaningful and important. I'm thinking what I would do in a situation like that, and I'd be so mad, but you really held it together. That must have been really tough for you.
It was to some degree, but I've been a registered nurse for almost 20 years, and I'm just used to advocating for people. So, and I've had him for 9 years, and I've had to advocate for him. So I'm good at advocating for what's right for someone.
You are indeed.
What is the next step? I know that the restaurant group has offered an apology. I know that, for obvious reasons, that it falls a bit short for you. What is the next step for you guys?
We're moving forward with the lawsuit. An apology is not sufficient, and it also misses the mark. So also what they did is they said they changed their dress code policy. This is not about the dress code. You have the right to have a dress code. We're saying apply it evenly and treat everyone fairly, and they have not even addressed that at all. So an apology is not adequate, and it also misses the mark. So next step, we're moving forward with the lawsuit. We want to make it clear that this behavior is not acceptable. And listen, you're TMZ. What you do is cover these stories, and we talk about stories like George Floyd, things where tragedy happens. This is the one step before tragedy. Because imagine if Marcia reacted differently and the police came to the scene and then something happened, and now we have another hashtag or another T-shirt that we're wearing. If we can prevent racism at this stage before it makes it to the tragedy, then we're changing the story. Then we're moving forward as a country where we say, don't try and use the code word or a dress code to exclude certain people that you don't think are good enough. We're good enough. We shouldn't be excluded that way when the dress code doesn't even apply to the white kid who was there. So this is the step before tragedy. We want them to start addressing racism at this step so we don't get there.
The other thing that we're doing is Dallas is going to do a children's march coming up soon. He's going to do a children's march, and he's starting a T-shirt line for social justice.
Hey, Dallas, you are flanked by an incredibly strong duo there, your mother and Dante. And you are going to make a difference here. And as sad as it was when it happened, do you feel good about the people on either side of you lifting you up and really trying to make a difference?
And your friends too, because if you're having this march, your friends are going to be there for you. So you should feel really good about that.
Do you?
Yes.
Dallas, I want you to know something, that in that moment, at what happened in the restaurant, you probably felt very awkward and you felt uncomfortable and you wondered why this man was doing this to you. Let me just tell you from my experience, when I was your age, I had a similar experience where someone made me feel like I wasn't good enough, like I didn't belong where I was. And all I can tell you is that I can't tell you that's never going to happen to you again, but you should remember that what your mother is saying to you, what Dante has said, you are good enough. And don't let, if one person says something to you, it doesn't matter. You will go on to do whatever you want to do and be whatever you want to be. And you can't let a few people who say something to you stop you. Keep doing what you're doing. I love the fact that you're doing a march. That is just awesome.
And I'm sure based on your story, you know how self-doubt can really take over. And when you don't know what's wrong with you because there's nothing wrong with you, and there's no explanation as to why you're different or why you're not enough, it's difficult to deal with, especially as a 9-year-old child. So I appreciate you sharing that story. And hopefully, if it happens to him again, he knows not to believe it.
That's it. There's no reason to believe it.
Hey, well, Dallas, here's the thing. We're going to cover the Child's March. We're going to put your picture and the march on TMZ, and we're proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate all of you. Thank you for the time.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. And we will follow that march.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the march.
Me
That's
too.
going to be great.